I used to live in a rental house just outside Albuquerque. Small, old, but it was mine. It had one of those layouts where the bedrooms were all in the back of the house, with creaky floorboards and a draft that always made it feel like someone had opened a window, even when they hadn't. I worked tech support from home, so I had a solid gaming setup, PS5, 2 monitors, noise-canceling headset. Most of my nights were spent on Warzone with my best friend Chris. That night started off normal. It was a Friday, and we were in good spirits. We joked, yelled over each other, got mad at cheaters, and laughed when one of us died stupidly. But around 10:30, Chris said he had to bounce. Last-minute plans with his girlfriend. I didn't think much of it. I stayed on, feeling the itch to keep grinding. I queued for a trio match, but when the game started, my squad had 4 players. I thought maybe I'd messed up and joined a different mode. But that wasn't it. One teammate didn't move, just stood there, crouched behind a wall in the spawn area. His name was unknown_4. No mic, no pinging. He didn't shoot, didn't run, just watched. I figured it was a glitch, until the moment we were mid-match and he started walking toward me. Not the objectives, not the action. Me. I led him through part of the map, expecting him to start helping, but he didn't fire a single shot, just followed. When I turned around to shoot enemies, I'd catch a glimpse of him standing perfectly still in the distance, just staring in my direction. After the match, I backed out to check my recent players list. He wasn't there. I even looked in my system logs. Nothing. I felt watched. I tried brushing it off, but then a party invite popped up. Unknown4. I didn't accept. I blocked him. Not 5 minutes later, my headset buzzed with harsh static, and I swear I heard whispering under the noise. Not words, just breathy sounds that made the skin on my arms prickle. Then the lights in my room dimmed, not flickered, dimmed, like something was drawing power away. And that's when I heard the noise, a soft creak from behind me, followed by the slow slide of my closet door, a door I had definitely shut. I turned, heart pounding. The door was open about a foot. I stood up, not even grabbing my controller. I walked over, pulled the closet open fast. Empty, no one there. But sitting on the top shelf, right next to some shoe boxes, was my old PlayStation 2. I hadn't touched it in years, but now it was plugged in, the red standby light glowing softly. I didn't plug that in. That night I slept at Chris's place. It was 2020, peak lockdown. I was living in Sacramento with my cousin Leo in a 2-bedroom apartment. He was working nights in a warehouse, so I had the place to myself most evenings. I'd gotten into streaming, not seriously, but enough to have a webcam and a half-decent following, mostly late-night horror games and Overwatch. One Tuesday night, I was reviewing my stream footage to clip for TikTok. Around 2 a.m., I was scrubbing through when I saw something off. About 2 hours into the stream, during a part where I was focused on a boss fight, something moved behind me. It was small, barely noticeable, but it passed through the back of the camera frame, from left to right, just behind my chair. I paused the footage and stared. The movement was smooth, too tall to be a cat, too quick for it to be Leo, and he wasn't home anyway. I pulled up the security app for the apartment. We had a camera at the front door. Nothing showed anyone entering or leaving. Still trying to stay calm, I rewatched the footage. This time, I turned up the audio. Right before the shadow moved, I said something out loud. I was mid-sentence, But just after the shadow passed, a whisper bled into the mic. I had to loop it 6 times to hear it clearly. "Don't stop playing." It wasn't my voice. I left my room and did a full sweep of the apartment. Nothing out of place. Every window locked, door bolted, but the hallway light was on. I always turned that off. I went back to my desk to close the stream. That's when my webcam light turned on by itself. I hadn't launched the software. OBS wasn't running. Nothing was open. Then my screen went black. Just black. And slowly, an image faded in. My webcam feed. But I wasn't on it. Not exactly. The figure on screen looked like me. But the expression was all wrong. It was smiling. Just barely. Like a mask of calm, hiding something twisted. And the eyes, they were staring above the webcam, at something behind me. I whipped around. Nothing there. I closed my laptop, yanked the webcam out and left it on the floor. That was the last night I streamed in that apartment. This was back in 2018, when I was living in a cheap 1-bedroom apartment in Tucson. Rent was low. The walls were thin. I worked odd hours as a night cleaner for an office building, so I spent most of my time awake when everyone else was asleep. I didn't have my own internet plan, so I used an open network called Linksys Free. It had been there since I moved in, always fast, no password. I figured one of the units had a router with a disabled firewall or something. One night, while playing Rainbow Six around 1 a.m., my connection dropped suddenly. When I went to reconnect, the familiar network name was gone. Instead, a new one had taken its place. Stop watching. I stared at it, uneasy. Was it directed at me? I refreshed the list. This time, the network was gone entirely. Vanished. So I used my phone's hotspot and got back online. 10 minutes later, I got an email from an unlisted sender. No subject, no real address. Just the message. "I've seen you. Every night. You never look at the kitchen door." Attached was a photo, taken from just behind me. You could see the glow of my screen, the back of my head, the reflection of my game in the window. It was taken inside my apartment. From the direction of the kitchen, I ran. I left the apartment without locking it, drove straight to my sister's place. I stayed there for days. When I finally went back with a friend, nothing had been stolen. Nothing was even moved, except one thing. On the kitchen table, where I usually kept unopened mail, there was a sticky note that hadn't been there before. It said, "Thanks for the signal.